It was a cold and stormy night when Emily and her husband, David, checked into the old and eerie Ravenswood Hotel. The hotel had a reputation for being haunted, but the couple dismissed the stories as mere legends. Little did they know that their stay in room 333 would be a night they'd never forget. As they entered the dimly lit lobby, the creaky floors beneath them sent shivers down their spines. The hotel's ancient chandelier flickered ominously, casting eerie shadows on the walls. Emily couldn't help but feel a sense of unease, but David assured her that it was just their imagination playing tricks on them. They made their way up to the third floor, and room 333 was at the end of a long, narrow corridor. As they unlocked the door and stepped inside, a chill settled in the room that had nothing to do with the weather outside. The curtains swayed gently, though there was no breeze, and the air felt thick with tension. Ignoring the strange atmosphere, Emily and David unpacked and settled in for the night. They laughed, shared stories, and tried to convince themselves that the tales of hauntings were nothing more than superstitious nonsense. But as the clock struck midnight, their laughter turned to fearful whispers. Muffled footsteps echoed in the hallway outside their door, accompanied by faint, anguished moans. David peered through the peephole, but there was no one in sight. Suddenly, the room grew icy cold. Emily's breath misted in front of her eyes, and they watched in horror as their belongings began to move on their own. The chairs scraped against the floor, the dresser drawers opened and closed, and the television turned itself on, flickering between static and images of an empty hallway. Panic set in as they realized they were not alone. In the dim light, they saw the shadowy figure of a woman, her long, disheveled hair obscuring her face. She stood at the foot of their bed, her tattered dress rustling in a non-existent wind. Emily and David could only stare in terror as she slowly raised her bony, ghostly hand and pointed a crooked finger at them. The room seemed to close in around them, the walls closing in, the ceiling descending. They backed away, their hearts pounding in their chests, but the door had vanished. The only way out was through the window. Emily and David scrambled to open it, but the glass wouldn't budge. They turned back to face the vengeful spirit, her ghastly form inching closer. With no other choice, they huddled together on the bed, praying for morning to come and the nightmare to end. As dawn broke, the room returned to normal, and the ghostly apparition vanished. The door reappeared, and they fled from room 333, their belongings left behind. The Ravenswood Hotel's sinister reputation was no longer just a legend to them. Emily and David had experienced the horrors that lurked within its walls, and they would forever carry the chilling memory of the night they spent in room 333. From that day on, the hotel's stories of hauntings became all too real for the couple, a nightmarish reminder of the supernatural forces that can lurk in the most unexpected places. Emily and David couldn't shake the trauma of their night in room 333 at the Ravenswood Hotel. They reached out to the hotel management to share their harrowing experience, hoping to prevent others from enduring the same terror. To their surprise, the management didn't dismiss their claims as mere hallucinations. Instead, they admitted that room 333 had a dark history. Decades ago, a woman named Isabella had checked into room 333 for her honeymoon. Tragically, her husband was killed in a car accident on their wedding night, leaving her heartbroken. Isabella spent the rest of her life in the room, mourning her lost love. The staff and guests at the time reported strange occurrences and sightings of a ghostly figure matching Isabella's description. The hotel had tried to seal off room 333, but the disturbances persisted, and they had no choice but to keep it open, albeit with a warning. Emily and David's experience was just the latest in a long line of encounters with Isabella's vengeful spirit. Determined to uncover the truth, Emily and David delved into the hotel's history. They found old newspaper articles and records detailing Isabella's tragic story and her untimely death in room 333. It seemed that Isabella's spirit was trapped, unable to move on due to the pain and sorrow that lingered in her room. With this knowledge, Emily and David decided to return to the Ravenswood Hotel, armed with a plan to help Isabella find peace. They brought with them a medium who specialized in communicating with spirits. The medium conducted a séance in room 333, attempting to make contact with Isabella. As the séance began, the room grew cold once more, and the atmosphere became charged with energy. The medium called out to Isabella, asking her to reveal herself. Slowly, the ghostly figure of Isabella appeared, her mournful eyes locked onto Emily and David. Through the medium, they learned of Isabella's anguish and her desperate desire to reunite with her beloved husband in the afterlife. With tears in their eyes, Emily and David promised to help her find peace. They offered their condolences for her tragic fate and told her that she could let go of her earthly attachments. In that moment, Isabella's spectral form began to glow with an ethereal light. She reached out, touching Emily's hand, and then slowly faded away. The room returned to its normal state, and the oppressive atmosphere lifted. Room 333 at the Ravenswood Hotel was finally free from its haunted past. Emily and David left the hotel with a sense of closure and the knowledge that they had helped a tormented soul find peace. Over time, the tales of Room 333 became less about horror and more about redemption, a testament to the power of compassion and understanding in the face of the supernatural. As Emily and David left the Ravenswood Hotel, they couldn't help but feel a profound sense of relief. They had not only survived a terrifying encounter, but had also played a part in bringing closure to Isabella's restless spirit. The memory of their night in room 333 would always stay with them, but it had transformed from a nightmare into a tale of redemption. In the following weeks, the Ravenswood Hotel decided to permanently close room 333 to guests. They wanted to respect Isabella's memory and give her the peace she so desperately sought. The room was sealed off, and rumors of its haunting continued to circulate, adding to the hotel's mystique. Word of Emily and David's experience spread, and they received inquiries from paranormal investigators and researchers interested in their story. They agreed to share their encounter in hopes of shedding light on the supernatural world and encouraging others to approach it with empathy and understanding. Over time, Room 333 became a focal point for those fascinated by the paranormal. People from all over the world visited the Ravenswood Hotel to learn about Isabella's story and the events that had transpired in the room. Some claimed to have had their own encounters with Isabella's ghost, while others simply paid their respects to the tragic spirit. Emily and David continued their work with the medium, helping other lost souls find their way to the afterlife. They had found a purpose in their shared experience and a deep appreciation for the complexities of the spirit world. The Ravenswood Hotel, despite its haunted reputation, became a symbol of reconciliation between the living and the dead. It stood as a reminder that not all supernatural encounters needed to be filled with fear and horror. Sometimes there was room for compassion and resolution. Years passed, and the legend of Room 333 at the Ravenswood Hotel continued to grow. The hotel itself became a hub for paranormal enthusiasts, thrill seekers, and curious souls from all walks of life. Emily and David's work with the medium had brought them fame in the world of the supernatural, and they were sought after for their expertise. One stormy night, As thunder rumbled and rain lashed against the hotel's windows, a group of intrepid ghost hunters arrived at the Ravenswood Hotel. They were determined to capture evidence of Isabella's ghost on film and add to the growing lore of room 333. As they set up their cameras, electromagnetic field detectors, and voice recorders, the atmosphere in the hotel grew tense. Emily and David, who had returned to the hotel to share their insights with the group, warned them about the potential dangers of provoking Isabella's spirit. But the ghost hunters were undeterred. They believed that capturing the ghost on camera would be their crowning achievement. As the night wore on, the group began to experience strange phenomena. Doors slammed shut on their own, lights flickered, and eerie whispers echoed through the corridors. The tension in the hotel was palpable, and fear hung heavy in the air. In room 333, the ghost hunters set up their equipment and began asking questions, hoping for a response. They called out to Isabella, asking her to reveal herself. Suddenly, the temperature in the room plummeted, and the room's antique mirror began to fog up. And then, as if in response to their request, a faint figure materialized in the mirror. It was Isabella, her form ethereal but undeniably there. She gazed at the ghost hunters with mournful eyes, and a chilling presence filled the room. The ghost hunters watched in awe and terror as Isabella's image grew clearer in the mirror. They captured it all on camera, every spine-tingling moment. But just as they felt they had achieved their goal, Isabella's spirit seemed to grow agitated. She pointed toward the window and let out a haunting wail. A powerful gust of wind blew open the window, sending curtains billowing and extinguishing all the candles in the room. The temperature dropped even further, and the ghost hunters were thrown into darkness. In the pitch-black room, the group heard Isabella's voice, pleading for release from her torment. Emily and David rushed into the room, their knowledge of Isabella's story and their connection with her spirit, their only hope. With a soothing tone, Emily and David began speaking to Isabella, assuring her that they were there to help. Slowly, the room grew calm, and Isabella's presence faded from the mirror. When the lights flickered back on, the ghost hunters found themselves alone in room 333, their cameras filled with undeniable evidence of the supernatural. They had captured Isabella's spirit, but they had also witnessed the power and anguish of a trapped soul. The legend of room 333 at the Ravenswood Hotel grew even stronger after that night. The ghost hunters left with their extraordinary footage, but they also left with a newfound respect for the spirits that lingered in the hotel's historic halls. Emily and David continued their work, now with the added knowledge that their mission was more important than ever. The Ravenswood Hotel remained a place of intrigue and mystery, a place where the living and the dead coexisted, and where the line between the natural and supernatural worlds blurred. And the legend of room 333 would continue to draw the curious and the brave, all seeking to uncover the secrets of the afterlife in the most exciting and haunting of ways.